Crack open a cold one, boys. Same industries. We're doing more Need for Speed.
What? You didn't tell me we were doing that.
Well, I've decided that we're going
And
to
I'm
be doing
hijacking
Need
this
for
car to
Speed.
talk about our sponsor, Castlevania, but not really a sponsor. But
Okay.
speaking of Castlevania, I'm excited that Netflix has announced that they've started the production on the next Castlevania series for the show. And I'm happy about that.
Do you like the show?
Oh, I love the show. I thought it was really good.
I've watched both seasons, and I was like, or maybe there's 3 now, I don't know.
There's
I was like,
4
yeah, it's alright, I guess.
total.
I don't know. I was kind of losing interest by the end of the 2nd season, I gotta admit.
The second season is definitely the slowest season of the 4. For sure.
4?
That's,
Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't know, it wasn't doing it for me.
Yeah, it's,
I really
it's
can't
been up and
describe it
down,
better
but
than that.
also, like, as just a person who's a fan of Castlevania, it's a lot of, oh, that's really
yeah.
sick. I love how they did this and turned this into, like, anime form of
I like
how
that it's
this
a
happened.
pretty much, at least I think, completely original story, right?
I believe it's, like, an original, like, retelling of, like, the main plot points to Castlevania 3, but they've just taken, like, the context of the plot points and they made their own show out of it.
Because it's like a completely different main character, Belmont, and all that.
Although it's the
Yeah,
it's
I
the
did
same
hear about
like
that.
main cast. Like so in Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse, you play as Trevor, and you over time recruit Grant, Sypha, and Alucard in the game to
So,
fight Dracula.
and these are the characters in the show?
Yes,
Oh, okay. I
except for
didn't know that.
Grant. Grant was like not in the show for some reason, and they kind of just like slipped an Easter egg with like this female character in the last season who has the same last name. And like I believe her first name is like Greta, Greta, and she's from Dynasty, which is the last name of the thief character. They're like, yeah, we're just gonna nod to this guy, but we're not gonna have him in the show. But then they're like, you know,
Is that the game where
technically,
you can swap a bunch of characters
what?
between them all? Or am I thinking of...
I'm
that
sorry, I
other
didn't catch
game?
what you said. What did you say?
Is Castlevania 3 where you can swap through all these
Yes.
characters and you can play as them?
Yeah.
Didn't they do a similar thing in like Bloodstained or whatever it's called?
Yes, Bloodstained did. Wait. Oh yes, Bloodstained. The
Oh my
The-
god, did you see that?
Or the card draw
The
part?
van just jumped when it went through.
Oh my god.
the like NES styled Bloodstained. Yeah.
Yeah,
They did
that
bring
one.
that back as a callback.
I heard those games were good. I didn't
Yeah,
play
they were
them.
pretty fun.
I thought the
Bloodstained
NES
was
style
really
one looked
fun.
pretty cool though. I like some of the creatures in it.
Oh yeah. I mean, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night was actually just one of the best games I'd played in so long. Like
game
Iga
I've
being
played this
allowed to
year.
make a proper Castlevania
Would
game
you
again
call
just
it
felt
one of your
correct.
favorite games of all time?
It's me $500.
No, I don't think I would, because I don't think I would consider it better than Sonic. And I feel like there's no real reason to bog my top 10 with multiple franchise games, really.
Fair enough.
And so if I, it's kind of like how Northern Lion does his tier list, where he's like, yeah, these are both good, but would I rather have Bloodstained
that.
over Sodden? And then it's like, no, I wouldn't.
That's the thing actually with my top 10 list is I tried not to include more than one game per franchise. Because if I did, I would have included Breath of the Wild and Wind Waker in the list as well.
Yeah.
I actually think Breath of the Wild might be better. I think I like it slightly more than Wind Waker, which I never thought I would say in my life, but it's true. And it's not because Wind Waker has gone down, in my opinion. It's just Breath of the Wild's gone up.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, the Castlevania show was like, and here we're also going to throw in the nods to like basically the setup story for Curse of Darkness, which is also like a pretty enjoyable Castlevania game with these characters that we know people like. And so now they're doing like a new original story, but still in the same world. But now we're following a new Belmont, which is Richter Belmont, and I'm excited because Richter's my favorite Belmont.
Richter's the one in the Smash Bros.
Yes, that is correct.
He's the one with the blue.
Yes.
He's got the whip.
Yes.
None of the others have a whip.
They all have the same whip.
I don't think that's true. I think you're lying, actually.
They all have the same width.
I think you're making things up. Is it nice that like you get a show that from something that you like and it's like really good? How does that feel? I'd like to know.
Feels good. Feels good.
That's not true. You know, actually, we were kind of half talking about Arcane earlier. Did you watch Arcane?
No, I haven't actually gotten around to watching Arcane yet. It's been on the back burner in my mind, but I never got around to watching it.
I watched the first half. I don't know if I should say my opinions on it, because I don't really know how to articulate myself very well. Because it's a really, really well-made show. It's just good. It's just a good-ass show. I have conflicting feelings because I don't like the game at all, but I like the world and the characters a lot. So in the one hand, it's like, it's really cool and I really enjoy it. On the other hand, I feel like I shouldn't even be watching it. Like, I shouldn't be allowed to do this. And then on the other hand, I kind of don't really want to watch the second half at all.
Interesting.
I'll tell you one thing. The show is surprisingly, extremely emotional. Like, really.
I know, that's
like,
what I've been hearing nothing but, like, good things. So.
Characters fucking just get annihilated emotionally, constantly. Yeah. And it's just really kind of uncomfortable to watch. And I think that's kind of my thing with it, is that I don't know, I don't like watching things that kind of make me sad. You know? Because it's very, like, there's so... Spoiler alert. I mean, everyone who knows League already knows this, but Jinx and Vi, they don't end up being very friendly towards each other. Yeah. Even though they're sisters, and then they end up having a huge falling out. And it's really fucking dramatic. And knowing, like, oh, they're going to become enemies is kind of upsetting to hear and see. And they make it really harsh, and it's like, oh, man. So there's that. So I'm like, and that kind of brings me into a tangent, which is that I can't really watch shows that are really dramatic. I think we brought it up last time, but I don't know if I got into anything. Where, like, Breaking Bad, for instance, is one of the greatest shows ever made, apparently. But I just can't watch it, man. It's just so fucking dark and dramatic and serious that even though it's brilliantly made and extremely good, I just can't do it. Same with BoJack Horseman. I watched like halfway through to season 2. And I'm like, I just can't do that. And apparently it only gets darker and more serious. I'm like, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys feel that way. Because like everyone's like, oh man, Breaking Bad's so good. I've watched it 15 times. I'm like, how did you even watch it once? I don't like watching things that make me feel bad. I just haven't even
gotten around to watching Breaking Bad at all.
I tried when it was in its height of its popularity, which was quite a few years ago now.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do it. So that's kind of a whole thing on its own right. And the only other thing I was going to say about Arcane is that because it's a prequel and an origin story, this is going to sound really weird if I don't phrase this right, but it kind of reminds me of the Star Wars prequels.
Okay.
And by that I mean, picture you're back in
1978 or something.
Okay, so imagine, put your mind back to 1978. You see Darth Vader walk on screen. You go, holy shit, this guy's cool. How did he end up like that? That's crazy. And you watch the Empire Strikes Back, and it's even more mysterious and intriguing. Like, whoa! And then, you know, the Return of the Jedi. It's even crazier, right? And you got all these questions. You're like, oh my god. And you start building it up in your mind. Darth Vader, who is this character? What was he like beforehand? How was he, you know, how did he transform into him? And then you get to the prequels and you get to see it and you go, oh, that's not really
not how I imagined it.
Yeah, that's not really how I imagined it. Now, is it good or bad? That's up to subjection. I don't really think it's very good, but you know, that's not really a complicated opinion.
I mean,
and it's kind of the same.
This discussion already. That my hot take is I like the prequels over the other.
You like them better than the originals?
Yes. I think 4 and 6 are actually very boring, besides very few moments in 4 and 6. 2 is like half a fucking train wreck, but the other half is pretty good. 3 is like 90% really good, and then 1 is okay. But okay, I honestly think 4 and 6 is pretty bad.
Okay, that's a whole fucking bag of worms that we have not talked about before. We'll get into that. I just want to finish my last thought on Arcane, where all I wanted to say is that Jinx, as a character, is actually kind of like Darth Vader in that way, in that, you know, she's very particular in the game. She's like a crazy chaos loving. She's basically the Joker, baby. And so it's intriguing to see, how she came that way. And this show shows you how it happened. And you kind of go, I don't know if I really like that. Because instead of her just kind of being a fun-loving, chaotic character, now she's got this extremely serious and dark backstory, which of course has its value. And anyone that likes it, that's totally cool. But a part of me, oh my god,
he just did it by himself.
But a part of me's like, I kind of like not knowing. Because, again, comparing it to the Joker, my favorite interpretations of the Joker is where he doesn't have a backstory, right? You don't get to know, because it would almost kind of take away from what the character is and what he represents.
So is that the Dark Knight version?
The Dark Knight version...
does go into detail.
Arkham version... No, they don't.
Well, it doesn't, not in detail, but he does make reference to his childhood. And
No, he deliberately makes it vague and confusing. He tells two different stories that conflict with each other on his backstory. That's the idea. That's what I mean. And most interpretations of the Joker do that, where you don't know his backstory or how he became the way he is, and he's constantly
because you're better not knowing. You can make it up for yourself.
Exactly. That is exactly what I'm saying. And so that's kind of how I feel about Jinx in Arcane, where it's like, I kind of don't want to know how she became that. Because for those of you who don't know, when I used to play League, Jinx was one of my favorite characters, and I'd play her all the time. She was one of my mains. So it's kind of weird, now, years later, looking back and finding out, actually, she has this really tragic backstory, and it's really dramatic, and it's like, I don't know if I really want to know this. Anyway, that's just my thought on Arcane. I don't know, do you plan on watching it, Frank?
I'm going to watch it at some point.
Do you guys still play League? Or is it one of those things where you're currently in the I hate League phase and you'll be back in a month or two?
So I'm at the standstill where I do not like playing normal League. I don't really like the way the game is shaped around the item changes they made, because they've introduced a new item type called a mythic item, which most of them are just old repurposed items given to a unique slot that you can only have one of, and most champions build around the same mythic item, so it's the builds usually get a bit more cookie cutter than usual. And so I haven't really been playing normal League that much, but every now and again I'll hop on and do 5 ARAM matches a week.
Right.
For the weeks that I feel like playing it. So I do technically play it every now and again.
I haven't played it all in years, and I never plan on going back.
Yeah.
I've said it before. I don't like the game at all, but I like everything else. I like the lore and the world and the characters.
MOBAs are definitely like that. You're not missing out, to be honest.
No. It's kind of funny. Everyone that's been reviewing Arcane are usually people that haven't played League or don't care. And so they're like, why is everyone telling me not to play this game? It looks awesome from the show. And it's like, oh god.
He doesn't know.
Although apparently there are some story-based games coming out or already out. I don't know.
Oops.
They recently had a Diablo that was explaining the lore and story of the Shadow Isles. Was one of the more recent
did that come out?
Yeah, that came out. That's been out for a bit.
Is it good?
I haven't played it, but I've heard that it's good.
Okay.
It's an enjoyable play.
Also, the main thing you'll get from Arcane, I think, that was weirdly really enjoyable for me, is just pointing at the screen and going, I know that guy.
You did. That's one of the reasons why the Castlevania show was because I get to point at the screen and I go, funny point. That's Hector! He's doing the cool shit!
You will literally, if you watch Arcane, you'll just do that constantly. Wait a second. I feel like I haven't watched the second half, so I don't know for sure, but I feel like they were setting up Dr. Mundo, and I was getting so hyped for that. Anyway, you can stop it now. Anyway.